Welcome to Padres Talking Padres. We got two fathers here today. Don't know if the third father is going to make it or not. He never responded to our text, but that's Jay.
Yeah.
We're used to it. I just left his wife. I podcast with his wife and just left that podcast, so floated over here to do another one. But a lot going on today. The bats were out today. I mean,
Save it.
Why can't they do that every day? Now, if this is a regular season, you know what happened. 27 runs one day, and the next day they get shut out by some no-name pitcher.
Come on, Jack. That's the pessimistic side of you.
Come on. It happens every season. Oh, the bats are back. And then they go up against a guy with a 14 ERA, and he shuts them out. Anyway,
well, you do have a little history on your side, I believe. They scored 25 against Colorado, and then got shut out the next day. So.
Exactly. I mean, it's. Hey, Michael, it's just call it like I see it because that's the way it is.
Well, look, a couple of my buddies, when I talk to them about spring training, they're always asking me, what do you think about spring training, WBC, all that kind of stuff. I said, look, forever and ever, the only reason I ever listened to spring training was when I was out in the field working and I, put the radio set in, so to speak. But, look, it's needed, right? It's football's got it. Basketball's got it. It's about getting rhythm. It's about getting reps. I've always said spring training to me has always been more for the pitchers than it is for the hitters. Don't get me wrong. The hitters got to, get used to, some live game action and things like that. It's just like me with the driving range. You can hit the driving range all day, but until you're out there in competition, it's totally different. So, but having said that, I'm always looking for the bats to come alive during spring training. I think it's really important for them to start getting the strokes down and stuff like that. Pitchers are just throwing the same thing, so you think that the hitters, especially early on in the spring training, would have the advantage because these guys are working on pitches. They're throwing 5 straight changeups because they want to work on a grip or just
right.
Throwing fastballs. But the wind was blowing out today, so it's good to see. But I think even better to me, I don't know about you, Jack, but with a lot of our big players, over at the WBC, I don't like that they're away. But why not take advantage of it? You got guys fighting for position. You got guys that are probably not going to get regular bats during the season if they make the roster. And I think it's really good for them to get a chance in the next 2 weeks to, number one, make their case. And number two, just get some rhythm going so that when camp breaks, they're not too far removed. So,
Just reading what Michael said.
Yeah.
But spring training used to be, back in the olden days, it was to get back in shape because guys, like Michael's saying, you got a job. Most players had jobs, and they had to leave those jobs to go, get in shit. Play baseball for 6 months or whatever it was. And part of the thing was, they put on a few pounds because they didn't work. You didn't work out year round back then. It wasn't, most people didn't do that. So you had to, knock off 20, 30 pounds of, and get back in shape. So, but like you're saying, pitchers they're working on things. They're getting their arm strength back. You have like Joe Musgrove coming back and, he looked pretty good. And then you got Buehler today, had one bad inning, but other than that, he had 3 solid innings. I don't think he's pitched. I don't remember him pitching yet.
It's his first live stadium, they were saying. And when you say bad, don't get me wrong, 2 runs, but my understanding, 1 triple, and that really was the difference in the whole.
He had 4 strikeouts. And again, Buehler is my player I picked to. I'm hoping he has a great year because it'd be sticking to the Dodgers. I mean, I think it would be great.
Forget the Dodgers. How about what he can do for the Padres? Because look,
if he has
money, and
if he has a great year, then that's helping the Padres. Go ahead.
But he said in an interview that about 4 weeks ago was the first time his arm quit hurting, and he's been taking all sorts of supplements and vitamins and whatever. And he goes, whatever it was, it just quit hurting. And he says, I hope it stays there. And if, Don't have to worry about that. He's a technical picture. He's worried about his arm slot. He's dropped a few. I think he said about 8% on his arm angle, which takes away the velocity of the fastball. But again, first start, I mean, I just think, you get to this point, we got 3 weeks from today. This is when you want to start seeing pitchers do the 3-inning stints, and then maybe next time they do the 4-inning stint. And then usually with spring training, they don't go more than 5, so, Musgrove's not feeling any ill effects after the start, because I'm always crossing my fingers the day after, because that's usually when, I mean, I know they're a lot younger than I am, but I never hurt the day of. It's the day after when you've stretched out too much or whatever it might be. But to your point, the staying in shape thing, it's probably the biggest change in athletes today.
Yeah,
I
it's
tip
a year.
I tip my cap
year-round
to 'em.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like Michael said, anyone showing up not in good shape for spring training is irresponsible and not a serious guy. It's what I would say if I could say such a thing. Yeah. It's true. I mean, it's very true. If you're, especially when you get older, I think it's even more important when you get older, because you have, your body, as we know, when you start getting older, anything you've injured hurts. You have to keep yourself in shape. And I know when I had like shoulder, I put off shoulder surgery for like 20 years because I would work out and keep it strong. And finally, it just pooped on me, and I couldn't. I had to have it, done. But you have to keep yourself in shape. And anyone, like you said, anyone who shows up not in shape, like in the NFL, you see players all the time that show up overweight, 40 pounds overweight, and you're like going, you're hurting your team, and you're hurting, and in the NFL especially, those contracts aren't guaranteed.
Yeah.
You're out here, and you said, well, I wanted to say, Bueller is taking supplements. I hope he's not getting them from Profar.
Yeah.
Just say, what an idiot. I'm just going to
say, sad story. It's just a sad story when people.
I don't even know if it's sad. It's just like you did it to yourself. The first time I'm like, okay, you screwed up. I get it.
It's still sad, Jack. Even if somebody did it to themselves, I feel for them that they don't have good advisors sitting around, and I feel for them that they don't have the wherewithal to abstain. I mean, that's it again.
I mean, I get
There's no one to blame but himself, but it's still a sad story.
First time I felt for him. This time I just, okay, that's on you. I mean, but anyway, is what it is. It just, these players today, they have like I said, if they don't have somebody looking out for them before they take any supplement, they should. Is this banned?
Yeah.
And I would before I took anything, I'd say, okay, is it banned? Can I take this?
Yeah. Well, we were talking or texting with Michael, in fact, a couple of days ago, or when the story broke, I should say. And, I have to believe every major league team has a trainer or somebody they can call and say, hey, I'm looking at this bottle and it's got, it says it's this. Can I take it?
Well, nowadays,
all you got to do.
Actually,
you just got to make a call.
You can take a picture of it and say, hey, can I is there anything banned on this substance?
So there's, in today's world, there's no excuse. When it first started, I got it, I didn't know there was something in that, and again, I'm not making excuses for any one person. And quite frankly, some of them actually deserve what they got. But I just don't see it. But
anyway, it is what it is. And I mean, because I always liked him as a player. I like him as a player, but I would never want him back.
Well, anyway, look, you want exciting players. I mean, that's the draw of Fernando Tatis and Mookie Betts, and I mean, you could go on the list. These guys, Ronald Acuna Jr. They got a flair. They've got that charisma that just translates to the fans and everything.
Right.
And so, from all, we've been very fortunate. I mean, we had Profar in 24. We had a Luis Ariz, who, despite some of the woes, so to speak, was one of those guys that you just wanted to root for. He had an excitement about him and everything. So, I've said it before. I wish the best for him, except for when he plays the Padres. So.
Yeah. But going back to the Padres, we're talking about starting pitchers, and we're pretty sure we're going to have Musgrove, King, and Pavetta.
Yeah.
And I think Vasquez. I got him on here as ace. His fastball's up to 96 miles an hour, which is not great. It's funny that 96 miles an hour is not great, but he has other pitches, and I think he should be. People are saying, should he be number 4? I go, well, who else is number 4 over him?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters when you talk about most staffs 4 and 5. It's kind of interchangeable. Does it really matter? I mean, to me.
Well, some people are saying put him in long relief. I go, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it's the development of the guys we have. So, let's kind of go through them. To me, Vasquez, you're right. The velo's up, and it seems like he's maturing. He matured more last year. Granted, the analytics say he's getting a little lucky, but if he can cut down on the walks, I think he's definitely in the rotation. And the competition, to me, I'm not a believer in Hermes. I wish I was wrong, but I don't have the belief in him. I think the competition is Buehler. I think the competition is Sears, and I think the competition later is going to be Griffin Canning.
He's not,
and Matt Waldron, if they can both come back from their injuries, and if Waldron's still with the Padres.
Canning is not coming back till May or June.
They said, well, April, May is the optimistic look at it, and then June at the latest. But at the bottom line, he's pitching. It's about fielding the position because of the Achilles and everything.
Right.
I think Buehler's got the inside track. I felt that way even before today. I think if he can find his mechanics, I think he's the guy. I'm starting to lose a little bit with Sears. He had another rough outing today. I'd love to have a left-hander available. It's the one thing I think we're lacking is that left-hander starter. We definitely got left-handers in the bullpen, but it'd be nice to have a left-handed starter.
I just don't see anything in him that makes me want to say, hey, he's the guy. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Again, I could be wrong. He could turn around, but from what I saw last season and from what I've so far in spring training, it's like he has to be perfect. He's just one of those perfect pitchers.
Yeah.
And he just hadn't been perfect. But I was thinking too, you have Musgrove and you want to keep his innings down, especially in the beginning. Why not go to a 6-man rotation?
Well, there's so many days off to start the calendar. So that's actually been brought up a lot, but in April they've got like 5 or 6 days off already.
Oh, do they? Okay.
So I think that would contradict what you want to do. I think with Musgrove, and this is just my opinion. This is why it's Padres talking Padres. Just my opinion is, I think that what they're talking about is resting him towards the middle of the season. I don't think they're going to stop him right off the bat and say, "Oh, well, you can't go out there more than 5 innings."
Right.
I think they're going to take it as they come along, and they're going to look for opportunities to bring up the 6th starter. I just truly believe that when you get to like May, June, July, you get around, like a all-star break or something like that. We're going to say, hey, Joe, we're just going to take you off, for the next 2 weeks and give you a little refresh, kind of thing. Because normally with good, great pitchers like Joe and other guys we got, you don't want to get them out of rhythm. But Joe has already said, I'm going to do what they tell me to do. I understand why they're doing it. I want to pitch in October. I want to pitch the whole year, and I want to pitch in October.
Yeah.
And I think that's where.
Which makes sense. Who wants to pitch? And you pitch to the playoffs, and then you can't go any further.
Exactly. And unfortunately, the last, 3 out of the last 4 years, we've had one of our big guns out right before playoffs.
Yep.
So, be nice to go in with a at least a 3-man rotation we can depend on. That's for sure.
Well, that's why I hate, you look at the Dodgers, they had 8 starting pitchers and they rested 3 of them.
Yeah.
Most, 2 months out of the season. And I guess even Blake Snell's he's starting on the IL.
That's a luxury few can afford, And,
yeah.
And it is what it is and all that. But I was listening to a media outlet that put the Padres as the number 12 team in the Major League Baseball. And the big difference with them is, look, the lineup needs to slug, and we knew that. I mean, the difference between 2 years ago and last year was night and day, and it's fairly much the same players. It just the slug went away. Whether that was the hitting philosophy of Victor Rodriguez, or because we had some guys with injuries, or whatever it might be. The bottom line is it dropped off a lot. We talked about that core four. Bogarts, Merrill, Tatis, and Machado really need to come through. But I also think that the power is going to come back because you got guys like Castellano and Sheets and Lariano, from the beginning of the year.
Right.
I think that's going to make a difference too. The other thing is, and what they pointed out most poignantly, was the starting rotation. It's like, if they get injuries, meaning the Padres, where are they going to go? And I have to agree with them. I mean, I like these signings, but I have to agree with them.
I can't argue with it. It's like the biggest question mark is the starting pitching. Can King pitch a whole season?
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't do it last season. Can Pivetta be the pitcher he was last season?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some big question marks. I mean, to me, the offense should be good. I like what they're doing. I think they have depth, and they should have more power this year. But the bullpen is money. The bullpen, it just has so many people. I mean, there's going to be people. There's people pitching this spring that are having great springs. They're going to get cut or sent back down to the minors because there's no room.
But I think the
unless there's a trade for a starting pitcher.
Yeah. I think the overlying question, or to me, is you've got basically, in a lot of ways, the same team you had last year. I mean, you lost Cease, so now you get Musgrove back. So, you kind of look at that and go, okay, well, let's just swap in one for another. And we could debate Cease versus Musgrove all day long. And, one day it might be Cease, one day it might be Musgrove. I prefer Musgrove. That's just me.
I would take a healthy Musgrove over Cease.
Yeah, and the bullpen, virtually the same. They lost Suarez, but we all knew when they traded for Miller, it's like, okay, Miller's going to be the guy. We still have Morejon and Estrada and Morgan and, Bradley Rodriguez, who probably won't even make the team, so we got depth there. And the players, it's like you got a little bit of difference, but I think that's what the naysayers are looking at. And I can't blame them. It's up to the core. I really believe that. It's up to the core. I think all the outliers besides that is not nearly the difference is having the core four actually perform. And like I said, I've kind of mentally written it down. Those four need to hit 100 home runs. They got to hit 100.
Also, Merrill has to stay healthy.
Yeah, but I'm not. To me, it's one thing when you got a guy that's in his fifth year and he's been injured 3 or 4 of the years.
No, I'm just saying him not being healthy all season hurt the offense.
Yeah, but one of it was a hamstring, which that can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
The other one, he got knocked unconscious, so concussion, and so it's stuff like that.
I'm not saying he's injury prone. I'm just saying a healthy Merrill, then you have a core 5.
Who's your 5th? You talking about Lariano?
No, I'm talking. You got Bogarts, Machado, Tatis,
and Merrill.
Okay, yeah. All right, never mind. I was thinking something else.
Now again, don't get me wrong, and again, I don't like to do the whole back of the baseball card thing because Lariano had a great half season with us. To expect that again, I don't know if that's asking more, right? Castellanos, we've talked about. If he gets any regular playing time at all, if he gives me the 15 to 20 homers, and bats a solid 250, I'm good. Yeah.
He needs to wear one of the Mr. Chip said give Jackson a pillow to put on his helmet. He needs one of those football ones.
But you could. But the thing is, it's funny. You'll sit here, Jack. We'll sit here and talk about it in the preseason. And you'll come back 4 months later. It's like, well, how did we know that Pivetta was going to hurt his arm? How did we know that Machado was going to break his wrist. Yeah, I mean, those are the kinds.
Well,
of
that's why
things
you
that
that's
happen
why you
every
have to have
season.
depth. I mean,
Exactly.
and like you said, and you said earlier, and people are justified to say that the talking heads is our starting pitching. We don't have any depth.
Right. Our
When you're
bench
looking at
is better.
when you're looking at Waldron and Sears as guys that you to count on, I'm like, I'm not excited about that.
Right. And see, now I look at the bench of the hitters, and I see better depth.
Yeah, you got Ty France, you got Andujar, Castellanos.
I mean, one or two of those guys are going to get cut because there's just not enough room for them all. I mean, you got to keep Capusano, or this is his last stand, so to speak, as your backup catcher. You got a couple of infielders with Andujar, or excuse me, Moon and who am I trying to think of?
Biggio, not Biggio.
Well, Castellanos and France.
Yeah.
And then your outfielders, you got Andujar and man, I'm terrible today.
Sheets.
But the bottom, Sheets. I mean, so you got 3 first basemen. I doubt if that holds, although France can play third, so that might give him.
He can also play second.
Yeah. But anyway, the bottom line is that somebody, as Mr. Chiprock saying, somebody's going to be the odd man out, and I'm like him. We agree, Mr. Chiprock. I want Ty France on the team, but not at the point of cutting Castellanos, which is probably not going to happen. They're paying him a minimum salary, for a $20 million player, as Manny says. Sun Moon may start on the IR because they pulled him today because the same oblique that was bothering him, started feeling tight again. So, yeah,
Ty France is raking the ball. Ty France is raking the ball right now.
I know it. But it's 3 weeks for the season. And, again, you can't go by all spring training like, oh, well, they're hitting 400 in spring training. Let's keep them.
He's a new Ted Williams.
It's a numbers game. And again, if you're a fan, we all have our favorites who we want to make the team, but they're going to have to make some tough decisions. And that's the way you want it.
And that's exciting because last year they kept players. I'm like going, and we've talked, buried this story. They kept players. I go, how did they make the team?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we have nothing better. So this is a good position to be in where you're like going, yeah, I love Ty France, but will he make the team? Will he not make the team?
Right.
He's good defensively too at first base too. So that's another.
Got his first Gold Glove. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but
But you know what I'm saying though, Jack. I mean, not too many. I mean, I know there's a rolling DH, and the good thing is that we got Sheets from the left side, Castellanos and France from the right side. So got a good mix there. Bryce Johnson is who I was trying to think of.
Bryce Johnson, yeah.
You got to have that guy. We're not a fast team, and he came through last year, limited at bats, but he hit over 300. So got the defense, the speed, the things that we kind of lack. Laureano's a very good outfielder, but he's not as fleet of foot by a long shot of Bryce Johnson. So I can see that being the 8th and 9th inning kind of substitution.
Well, he's not like having. I always got taking out Sheets.
Yeah,
but I was like, Laureano. I think I would. We'll see. But,
But that's the same thing with first base, though. If you've got Ty France, whether it's Castellanos or Sheets over there, you could put Ty France in as a defensive replacement, as well as a pinch hitter, as well as a DH. So I think that's going to be more important, I think, than how they're performing, so to speak, in spring training. It's always a numbers game. Where can I put people? Where am I going to need some help?
I'm trying to write down the names.
Because you still got Will Wagner, you still got McCoy. The guys that Sun Moon can't make it.
Go ahead, Taco. I'm trying to write down players.
Well, and again, these are options that'll probably be made, in a couple of weeks here and everything. Today they shipped out another handful of players. They're down to 59 in the major league camp. If I remember right, they usually hold on till about 40 of them until on the last week, and then that's more of just to make sure they fill the spring training, game and
Right.
don't have to run their regulars out there for 8 or 9 innings. But I'm excited. I mean, it's a rite of spring passage, right? It's you get excited about the possibilities and everything, and I do. I think this is a better team than last year.
Well, and also it's another year where the team should be competitive.
Yeah.
I mean,
They won 93 and 90, and yet people are writing them off like they're just going to be this average team. It's like, so what's changed?
I don't get it. But it's just like, again, if you've been a fan from the start, or even a fan since like the 80s, there's been a lot of bad years where it's like, what am I going to root for this year? I could root for this player. I mean, when you have a team, it's not exciting, and not going to win, it's hard to root for them. And I think
they're never going to get the media coverage that we want, Jack, when they keep going out in the playoffs. Because they got a lot of ink when they got in and beat the Dodgers, and back in the 20 season, and then got a lot of ink, when they started getting the Sodas of the world, and and Jack Merrill showed up. But when you take last year and you look at it, they start saying, is this really that good of a team? 3 and out, boom, gone. I think a lot of it too, you can't help it. We think about it all the time. We're in the same division as the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So how highly can you think of other teams in the division, knowing that you got to get past the Dodgers? And it's not just that, and this is my bemoaning, that we're in the same division as the Dodgers. So people outside the Western Division don't understand the unfairness of the system, because you're not in the same division as the Dodgers. So you have a path to win your division a lot easier than our path.
Well, it's like teams that, if you're in the American League East with Toronto spending $300 million and the Yankees and the Red Sox spend a lot of money, and you're the Tampa Bay Rays, you're like going, huh?
Yeah. Good luck. They did it for years. I give them credit, but did it for years. But but then
if they could have spent money,
yeah,
they probably would have won some World Series. But that's
you look at other divisions and you go, man, I'm not trying to say too much about it, because Milwaukee Brewers are very good now, but there was years where it's like, okay, just be like a 5 games above 500 team and you win your division. So again, this is a team that's won 93 and 90 games and has not won a division. So, it's tough. It's going to be tough. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of put our odds so low. Now, the one angst I have is when you see odds makers putting us behind the Giants and the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I just scratch my head. I mean, you can say whichever you want. If there's a Giant podcast out there and you think the Padres suck, you got just as much a right to say that as we say for them. But I just don't see it. I don't see the Diamondbacks, especially the Diamondbacks now. Carroll, whether he's going to be with them or right away. But they lost Suarez, and they lost
Naylor.
Yeah, and they lost Gallen, right? Did they sign Gallen?
No, Gallen came back.
Okay, so Maryland,
Kelly, Zach Gallen's down to a 1-year contract.
Okay, but yeah, they're so we'll see. I mean, again, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we're just gonna shove those guys around and everything. I just don't see why there's elevated odds for them to win it versus us. But again, that's just me.
But they did you see what Merrill Kelly said? He said he had a 3-year contract, but he didn't sign because he didn't want to pay the taxes in California. And I go,
don't blame him. I live here.
And plus living in San Diego is probably a lot more expensive than living. Was it Phoenix they're at? I mean, Phoenix is probably in Arizona, probably expensive, but
it's getting there.
But the taxes.
My wife and I went to the game there last year.
But the taxes there, I mean, I get it. It's like, it's like Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl and it cost him money.
Yeah, well, And the same thing applies to Toronto, because they go
Yeah.
to Toronto and you so yeah, I mean, it works against us. And look, works against the Dodgers too. So everybody.
Well, but
Yeah.
that's why the Dodgers defer a lot of money too, because
Well,
what's his Otani is only paying the $2 million. He's not paying for all the
yeah,
deferred money.
they're paying. They're having to put it in an account. So to me, it's more than that, Jack. Here's my big difference. Kyle Tucker signed the 3-year deal with a player option at the end of the first one. They didn't defer the money, but they gave the signing bonus to him, but that gets taxed in Florida. Whoops, no state tax.
Right.
So when they gave him 68 million of the 70 million, he's only going to get taxed in California for the 2 million.
Right.
So, well,
That's
that in every state that they go to, because anytime you play or stay in a state, then you pay taxes on it. But the point being that 68 million is being paid as a signing bonus. Now, why is that, important? Well, the Dodgers got $68 million laying around where they can just say, oh, we'll give you 68 million. And again, I'm not just talking about the Padres. There are many teams that do not have 68 million where they can just say, oh, we'll just write you a check. So therein is the unfair advantage.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and it's because it does. People go, well, the Dodgers have the same problem. No, they don't.
No.
They're able to get around it, but living in LA though is expensive. I will give them that. But living in San Diego,
they can have it.
Is expensive. I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to live in LA. I'm not being bitter.
My youngest son lives up there.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Sorry. Yeah.
Traffic.
Okay, so let's talk. I'd like to hear your vision of the lineup as you see it, Jack.
Well, obviously, you're
give me a lefty righty.
Your catcher's Fermin, right? So I would go Bogarts number 1. I just think he's a good number 1 hitter. My number 2 would be Merrill. I don't know why I'm writing this down, but I'm writing it down. My number 3 would be Manny. 4 would be, actually, you know what? I'm going to go Tatis. I'm going Manny number 4. Number 5, got to go with Lariano. 6. Well, it depends on who's pitching. Could be Sheets, could be Castellanos. 7, 8, 9. My 9th hitter is going to be Jake Cronenworth. 8 is Fermin. 7. What am I at here? I got 7. Got the whole outfield. I got second base.
Down to DH now.
Yeah, DH and first base, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be it could be Andujar, Sheets, Castellanos, France if he makes the team. But that would be my top 5 and my bottom 2, and then I would put the DH first basemen in with the 6th and 7th. And if someone comes out hitting, say Lariano comes out struggling, but Castellanos starts out, then you move him behind Manny.
Yeah.
Just depends.
Interesting. So number 1, you're going with the Bogarts because you've seen it, you like it.
I like Bogarts I think he's a smart hitter, and he's starting to get the, he's starting to get the Boston Fenway Park out of his system and learning how to hit at Petco. Merrill is Merrill. Tatis is Tatis. That's some decent speed. Bogarts, he's not blinding fast, but he steals bases. Merrill's fast. Tatis is fast. Manny's clogs the bases, but he can steal a base every now and then. But the thing I have with Manny is he hits in a lot of double plays, so I don't want him hitting. I want the top 3 to do some damage, but Manny's going to get his Manny, and then Lariano, if he can play like he did last season, that's gravy. And then I like Jake at the bottom. Jake likes to take pitches. He gets on base, works the count. And then who's behind him? Bogarts. Yeah. So Bogarts.
The only thing about your lineup, and I know you can adjust and everything, is having that many right-handers in a row. When you had, Tatis, Machado, Lariano, that's 3 in a row, and I always think that's dangerous. But Yeah, I
It
mean,
could.
I like Bogey at the top. I was crying for it last year. Didn't get my way. Um, I know that Tatis and Machado have been very, I don't want to say outspoken, but they've talked about wanting to hit next to each other, and I have to disagree. I think I like Bogarts. I like Tatis second. I like Merrill in the middle at third, and then Machado at fourth. I like the separation of the righty lefty. I also think that having the lefty, they can't just bring in a righty for two or three hitters, even if it's just two. And again, these are the guys that are going to play every day, lefty or righty. So it's not that so much. I think you're always concerned about that when you get the guys like a Castellano or you get a Jake Cronenworth and things like that. I actually like Jake in five because
Really?
Jake's got some power, and again, it's a lefty behind. It keeps the lefty righty thing going, and then Lariano's six, Castellanos seven, and again, to your point, if it's a righty, then okay, instead of Castellanos, it's Sheets,
Sheets.
there. And then my DH, whether it's Andujar, whether it's Castellanos or France or whoever, and I still like Fermin at catcher at nine. I don't think hiding him at eight, my personal opinion, is going to change a whole lot.
Well, I'm not hiding him.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a solid hitter. He's
no, I do too, but I don't think putting him eighth instead of ninth is going to change a lot on the base pass. I don't think that's.
But I don't
no matter
like
where you
Jake
put him,
hitting.
he's going to be in front of somebody. And
I
Jake's
like
fast
Jake.
too.
Jake's one of my favorite players of the team. But if I'm a pitcher and I got okay, do I have Manny Machado or do I pitch around him to get to Jake Cronenworth? I'm going after Jake Cronenworth.
Right.
He doesn't.
Well,
He
and
doesn't,
the good
he
thing
doesn't
about your
scare me.
lineup is when you turn it over, you're going back to lefty, righty, right. Lefty, righty.
Yeah.
And again, we all know that there always has to be at least one place in the lineup where there's consecutive right or left. You can't do it with nine guys. But so I think we both agree on Bogey. I kind of held back to when we had Soto, and I'm sure you remember we discussed it and how many people wrote articles about the four, the Soto, the Machado, the Bogarts, and the Manny, and which one was the best way to do it and everything. And I think I remember stating at the time, it's like, does it really matter? Like, should it really matter? I mean, when you got four hitters like that, I kind of feel the same way with this, and hopefully, because I was under the impression, and I could be wrong, but I was in the impression that Fernando wanted to hit leadoff last year.
He did.
But in hearing him talk, I'm not sure if he wasn't towing the company line for Schilt. And I'm not saying Schilt was doing anything bad or anything like that, but I think that was the kind of mature thing for Tatis to say was, yeah, I want to hit leadoff. But he's saying, I don't care where I hit, but I love hitting cleanup.
Yeah.
So
again, I have no problem with him hitting cleanup either.
Yeah. But again, you could talk about protection, and maybe that's the hard part about this lineup. And this is where we'll go back to it. The core four is the core four. These guys in the back of them are going to have to provide the protection. The Larianos, the Castellanos, the Jake Cronenworths, they're the ones that are going to have to protect that part of the lineup, because no matter who you hit fourth of the big four, they're not going to have the protection of the other three. They're going to have to lean on somebody further down the lineup. I would honestly put Jackson at fourth, but then again, now you run into the righty.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
I just think Merrill's a great number two hitter. I'm obviously a big fan of Merrill. Again, like I said, you could put Manny third, fourth, Tatis. Like I said, it really doesn't matter that much to me. I just think Tatis would get more at bats hitting third than he would at fourth. I think it's like 60 at bats more hitting. I forget the statistic, but I saw it out there somewhere.
Well, some would call that the argument for Bogarts hitting fourth, because now what you're saying is very true. Whether it's 30 at bats, 50 at bats, whatever it might be, you're taking those away from Manny and Fernando.
Yeah.
So who do you want those 30 extra at bats to go to?
But we don't have we don't have a leadoff hitter. That's the problem. We don't have that prototype leadoff hitter.
That's why I want Stephen Kwan. I've wanted him for 3 years now. I'd love to have that guy. Because, you go old school, Jack, and you remember, man, how much havoc guys like Brett Butler, Vince Coleman,
Alan Wiggins.
Yeah, these leadoff hitters that just drove you absolutely nuts. They're always pesky, getting on base, stealing bases, threatening to steal bases.
Ricky Henderson.
Brett Butler, I mean, Ricky's the best. There's no doubt about it. But Brett Butler he was like a gnat. The guy was just a gnat, fouling off pitches and, making pitchers work hard, and get on base and steal. And even, we don't have a prototypical. Now, in today's world, I'm sure there's some listeners out there, chime in if you'd like, want Fernando to still hit leadoff. And I can't disagree with them. I prefer to get the slug back. And so to me, that's why I take of the four, in my opinion, Bogaerts has the less slug of those four. So let him walk. Let him hit his singles and doubles. That's what you want your leadoff guy to do. And then allow, Merrill and Tatis and Machado to drive them home instead of him trying to drive them home. So.
Yeah, that's why I go with Bogaerts up the top. I mean, I don't know. If we had a better leadoff hitter, Bogaerts would probably be hitting fifth for me.
Yeah, I was interested in his spring training, and again, we're lacking a lot of players, but Jake led off today.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had a good game.
I like Jake. Well, I do too, but he's a lot of swing and miss. I mean, Jake's got strikeouts, so not necessarily what you want out of your leadoff guy. But having said that, Fernando swings and misses a lot too. So I think where Fernando really impressed me last year is he embraced the leadoff. He drew many more walks than he usually does. He scored 111 runs or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
something like that. 109, 111.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, at least we have options. I mean, it's
nice to have options.
And again, there could be a trade. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't believe there's going to be a trade for a starting pitcher. I really don't. The rumor I heard, well, not rumor, but the name that I hear that's still out there is Giolito has still not signed with anybody.
From Boston?
Lucas Giolito.
From Boston, right?
He used to be the Chicago White Sox back in the day. I don't know who he played with last year. Let me see if I got his. Let's see. Who did he play for last year? Red Sox. Well, he never pitched. He hasn't pitched since 2020. Oh, that's his hitting stats. Let's try that.
He was like 10-4 last year, 10-5 something.
Yeah, 10-4, 2025, and he was with Boston. That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, because people, I saw it on Twitter. People are like saying, "Oh, we have enough pitchers." I go, "You can never have enough pitchers."
Yeah,
I'd bring him in a heartbeat.
So he's he's older. What is he? He is 31. Be 32 real soon here, but he has not had much going at all since 2021. He's been really bad, in fact, since 2021.
Well, he's 10-4 last year. With what was his ERA?
He's actually good last year, 3.41 when he was with Boston.
Because he was hurt.
He came back from his injury. Yeah, he came back from his injury. It's. I'm sure it's a salary thing. How much you're going to pay a guy. That you're just not sure. Right. He. For all we know, maybe he's not willing to do what Walker Buehler did, which is like, or some of these guys, I'll take a minor league deal and if I make the team, then great. If not, you release me.
Right.
Some guys are still probably hanging out, and you're right. I mean, they're not just the Padres. There's going to be some signings in the next 3 weeks because it happens every year. These guys finally give up and just say, "Well, I guess I'll sign with you," because I got no other choice. We've gotten a few players. Well, it's how we got Jerks and Profar in the first place.
Yeah, for
so
$1 million.
You know that you're going to get those kind of players, and I don't know if the Padres are that hungry. I know AJ always goes on about you can never have enough starting pitching, but I don't know if you can have. I think you can have too many works in progress. If you're not signed by now. To me, if you're signing somebody that's left over, it's got to be somebody that's ready to go. And like you said, maybe via trade or something like that. I'm trying. In fact, I'm just looking right now to see like who are the free agent pitchers right now, and there he is. It's the catchers. I'm getting out of the pitchers here. Looking at the starters, or looking for the starters. So you got Zach Little left. He's 30. That wouldn't be a bad one. Patrick Corbin, 36 years old. He hasn't signed yet.
I don't want Patrick Corbin.
Yeah. Nestor Cortez.
Patrick Corbin's left-handed, isn't he?
Yes, but he's 36. Nestor Cortez, who 31.
Yeah, I don't want
Giolito is 30. Tyler Anderson, 36. Frankie Montez.
Tyler Anderson, left-hander.
Stroman. Yeah. There ain't much left, let's put it that way, because a lot of these guys are like negative wars and stuff like that. But having said that, there are some pitchers. In fact, I'd say the best starting pitcher is probably Zach Lytle. He's 30 years old, 3.7 WAR. I don't know if he's. Let me see if I can bring him up real quick.
Who did he play for last year?
I know he was Tampa Bay, but I think he was with the Kansas City Reds. He was 10-8. Yeah.
Kansas City and the Reds.
No, Cincinnati. No, he was just with the Reds. I misspoke. I'm surprised he he had 10 games pitched last year, 1.07 WHIP and a 4.39 ERA. Guy's been a pretty steady, 3.5 ERA for the most part.
And having a 4 ERA plus 4 ERA in Cincinnati is not bad.
And I'm not seeing anything that that says that he's hurt or anything. So that could be somebody that you might go and get it. I'm just curious. He only had 10 games played last year for them. Oh no, that's a combo year. So that's right. He got traded at the deadline from the Rays to the Reds.
Okay.
And so, he got 32 games pitched last year. Looks like his combined ERA is, just maybe a shade under 4. Consistent with his year before, where he was 3.63. So, I don't know. I think that is somebody that maybe the Padres should go after.
Yeah, again, because you got guys with question marks. Like we said, we have Buehler question mark. King is a question. If King's healthy, he's our best pitcher.
Yeah, but then, a lot of it might be with what's he asking for?
Right. If he might be, and he's refusing to.
Let's see.
Budge.
Last year, 2024, he made 1.85. Now, what I'm assuming is that probably was. Let's see. Well, he's been in since 2018. That might have been his last year of arbitration.
Okay,
that's what I would guess. So that wouldn't surprise me if that was maybe his last year of arbitration.
He probably also wants a 3-year deal or something too.
Yeah, and again, that's why some of these guys want to hold out. They're going to hold out until they get maybe the one that they like.
Mr. Chip says Jake Arrieta is still available.
Actually, so I just went to a different site. Last year with the Rays, he made $5.7 million.
Wow, for the Rays.
So, so that was that was his last year, I believe, of arbitration. So I think he is a complete. Well, I know he is. He's a complete free agent, but he probably is going to have to be wooed, so to speak. So
okay. Well, again, like I said, if we could get someone like that, but I really want to see Bueller work out. I just don't believe in Sears.
yeah.
Again, he's as a Padre. I root for anyone who's a Padre. I say this a billion times, but I just don't see it. But we do need. It would be nice to have a left-hander, but I'm not sacrificing a pitcher because to put Sears out there every fifth day if he can't pitch.
Well, we were talking about it earlier, and I did mean to bring it up because I believe that Lydell throws a right-handed. Okay, I'll get off of that then. Because one of the things that crosses my mind is, you sometimes have that long relief guy, and the way that Peralta performed last year kind of took him out of that role. I mean, he had a good year.
Yeah, he did.
But you start, going. They were going through it today. Okay, you got Miller in the ninth. You've got I know they're interchangeable a little bit, but for simplification, you got Miller in the ninth. You got Marahone in the eighth. You got Adam in the seventh. You got Estrada in the sixth. You got Morgan in the fifth. And now, don't forget, you've got Matsui, Peralta, Bradley Rodriguez, and
Kyle Hart.
I don't think that's just it though, but that's the end of your bullpen.
I know, I get it, but I'm just saying.
So you don't. Normally, I would sit here and say maybe you keep him as the long relief guy that comes in for the lefty. I mean, that's what they do with him last year. They brought him in, Kyle. What's his name? Kyle Hart. They brought him in, and even though he kind of stunk, they looked at it as like, well, this is the perfect place for him. If a guy gets knocked out in the third inning, I can hopefully only have to do this one of every.
I just know he's having
games.
He's having a good spring.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be tough though. I mean, that's just it. And so my point being that normally when you get down to who's going to be the sixth or fifth starter, you say, yeah, but if they don't make the fifth starter, we'll just put him in the bullpen as long relief. I don't think there's room for that this year.
No, there's not. That's the problem.
Yeah. You brought in guys who don't have options. Well, Walker Buehler is not going to go to the minors.
No,
Herman Marquez is not going to go to the minors.
Of course, Marquez has had a bad spring. So
yeah, and then you got Sears, who went to the minors last year to work on his game. That had to be voluntary. You had to volunteer to do it. So yeah, a good thing, but it does make it tough. And I don't think we need those. I don't think we necessarily need those long relievers because of the 7 guys that I named off. It's like we're pretty full with the relief pitchers. So either you're number 4 or 5, or you're down in the minors, or you're cut. Somebody else is going to try and pick you up. Yeah.
They keep talking about Morgan moving into the starting rotation, but it wouldn't happen this year.
No.
But maybe next year he developed another pitch or something in the off season. But no, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how good the bullpen is, and it's pretty inexpensive. I think this will be Adam's last year with the Padres, I would think.
Well, it's his this is last year of before he gets into the free agency.
Yeah. Morihone, I think, still has a year of arbitration left, I think.
I'm pretty sure. Let's see what the Padres I used to have that site. I don't know if I still got it anymore. Where did the whole Padre organization, and we'll have to do that another time.
Yeah.
And
then I wanted to close on. We have they've closed off the bidding for the Padres is there's like 5 groups that have put in bids for the Padres.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an artificial close. Like if you really want to be considered, you need to come in before, what was it, February the 20th, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just my estimation, we won't hear a thing about it until it's sold. Yeah. We won't hear, these guys got cut. No, because they're basically going to keep all 5 dangling. I don't say dangling because that's just a bad word, but they're going to make them all bid against each other. What are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go? So they're not going to sit here and say, "Oh, well, this group's been eliminated," because then the other groups will go, "Oh, well, good. Then I don't have to go up." So.
Well, I know Drew Brees was putting together a group, and then it was reported. But then it was reported, no, he wants to join another group.
Okay, him and his partner, or the guy that has the clothing line, are not even the main guys. Yeah. They're just willing to put in money as minority owners. So much like much like when Seiler bought it, I think he's got about 5 different guys that came in with, some guys were 10%, some guys were 1%, and that's not uncommon. A lot of your pro athletes will dig into.
But I was like in that, I go, there's a San Diego connection.
I don't think that's. I honestly don't think that's important. I like Drew Brees, I do, but I don't think that's important.
Well, I said Drew.
I think it's more important that we get somebody that has a lot of money, and that was the scary. Oh, yeah. That's what brought out the details, because people looked at that clothing line guy and said, "Okay, I know this sounds silly, but he's only worth $5 billion." Like that's no. I mean, but if you're buying a team for $3 billion, you've got to have more than that.
Yeah.
So
well, obviously you're not. I don't think you're paying cash for the team.
No, but you got to have assets that are liquid, that are available for liquidity to be able to do it.
Yeah,
that's like going for a loan. It's their loan is no different than our loans.
So someone worth $5 billion, he's not rich enough.
Yeah. But he's not. I mean, not to take on the whole 9 yards, but very, very rarely do you have a single owner that just has all of it. It's funny because you always see when they sell these things. They have 51%. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
I don't need the other 49%. I just want to have 51%. I'm the owner.
Have total control.
Yeah.
So. Well, like the Chargers, Spanos has sold off some of his share. Well, they had to buy their sister out.
Yeah.
So they had to buy, long story. But if I'm Drew Brees, screw it. I'm bringing a football team to San Diego. That's what I would do.
And on that note,
that's what I do. If I'm Drew Brees, I do it. I mean, they got they got that Chula Vista location. Just dying to build a stadium there.
All right.
Anyway,
well, hopefully we get Jay back next week. And for those who are listening tonight, thank you. And we're planning on being regular now throughout the season. We'll have. I've
been eating a lot of bran, so I'm pretty regular right now. So.
Well, we'll have a few giddy ups for travel purposes and stuff like that, but for the most part, we're going to be regular from here on in. So
and let's see, we got the World Baseball Classic It started, right?
Yeah,
did it start? I haven't watched any of it yet, but
nor will I. So
you don't watch it?
Nope.
Nope. I enjoy watching some of it. I'm not watching it 24/7.
It's a glorified All-Star games. So I just I don't have I never have.
It's like the Olympics. The USA.
I don't watch
Canada.
The Olympics either. Believe it or not, folks, I am a big sports fan, but I'm not an Olympics fan. I'm not a made-up team fan. I just when you just make it up, I'll watch the Ryder Cup because I'm a golfer, because I'm interested in the golf. I don't necessarily like the formats and all that kind of stuff. I wish they just kind of let them all go out and play and then add their scores together.
I don't.
It's still a made-up team.
I could watch paint dry and have the same emotion.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I feel about All-Star games and
well, like I said, All-Star game. I rarely watch the All-Star, but the Olympics has never been the same since they let pros in.
Yeah.
And the Cold War ended.
Yeah.
Because it's always fun to go against Eastern Bloc countries. Yeah, Of course, winning the gold in '80 was just amazing. But it was fun winning the gold because people from Canada were so pissed because they were the better team.
Yeah.
But they didn't win.
Like I said, that's just me. That doesn't make me right, but that's my world that I live in. And, my bigger fear is, Jack, and this is why I don't like the WBC, is the Edwin Diaz situation from last time.
Well, that's why a lot of players.
I mean, you tell me how much would you like the WBC if Fernando Tatis went over and broke his arm?
Oh, I would hate it.
Yeah. So
that's why a lot of players.
That's my biggest fear.
But you have a lot of players not playing because they couldn't get insurance.
Yeah.
Because they're
of Edwin
too.
Diaz.
I don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
But it's people like it, but it's just like,
it's a big thing for a lot of people, just not me.
I'm 100% with you on that one. I wish it was at the end of baseball season.
Yeah, I have a buddy who said, they should make this more of a winter thing. You can find a dome stadium and, and just play after maybe 2 weeks after the playoffs, have a winter classic or whatever.
Yeah, a winter classic would be great. I don't like the teams. I don't like players.
That way, at least if they get hurt, they've got a couple months to get back.
Exactly. I don't like the pitchers going either. I don't like what's his name for Detroit?
Well, Tariq Skubal says I'm pitching 5 innings and I'm done.
Yeah, that's what he said. I was just saying for Detroit. He said, 5 and done. I'm 5
Again,
and done.
That's what I don't like. I don't like that it interrupts the spring training, being around your teammates. It makes it more difficult for the manager to be able to manage, the spring training rosters and
I get it with Skubal too.
Yeah.
Skubal's got a big payday coming next year.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I can't even believe he's going.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even go. I mean, it's just, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars you're risking.
Yep.
But 5 innings.
All right, man.
People were saying, "Oh, that's terrible. He's only going 5 innings." I go, I can't blame him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, let's cross our fingers for our boys. I hope they have a good time. If they come back healthy, then all is good. So
all is good.
All right, man.
Well, all right, guys. Take care. We'll be back next week. Thanks for everyone who listened. And that's all I got. Hasta luego.
Right. See you guys next week.
Bye.